Welcome to episode 16 of Scribbles with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Rector, and today we're going to do what I was talking a little bit about yesterday, and that's line weights. And as you can see, I'm going to have a bunch of examples here that I've already pre-drawn, and I'm just going to do the line weights over top. But the way that I normally work is I do the quick gesture, then I do a tight line over top, which is what all this is supposed to represent, quote-unquote tight line. And then what I'm going to do, and this is all subjectional, by the way, I'm going to add in a light source and where my line weights will be according to that. And how I go about doing these. I mean, everybody does things a little differently. And I mean, if you are a little lost, maybe this will help you out. And I hope it helps some people out. Or else, what's the point of doing these, right? Okay, so for the first top two there, I'm going to use very basic shapes. I'm going to do a top lighting on this first one. So since the light is at the top, what I'm doing is I'm just adding in the line weights to where the shadows would be. And I know it's a little white, so it's going to be a little glary. I'll try to put a little shadow over it as you'll see as we go, just so you can see it pop a little bit. But all I did there was add, and I mean, you can use those lines as heavy as you want. And right here, because the light's not touching it, just the bottom would be lit. And you can see how it pops a bit right away, right? And if you wanted to, you could just thicken up a little bit of it, just to make it pop a little bit even more. I'm hoping this comes through, so you guys can understand what I'm talking about here. And the second set here, the light's going to be coming from the left. So, very similar to like what we did before, the shadow side is always going to cast a heavier line. And that's what I'm trying to show here. You could go as thick as you want towards the light source, determining how far away the light is. So, I'm trying to light things a little bit as if it was, lit by the sun, I suppose. Just it's like a traditional type of lighting, nothing drastic or epic. And here, I hope you can see it pop a little bit, just by adding a little bit of thickness. Now what we're going to do here is combine the two shapes, except I'm also going to show adding line weight to thicken something that's actually in the foreground, something that's closer to the viewer, closer to the camera, whatever you need for terminology there. So hopefully you can see it there. Hopefully it shows up a little better. But since the rectangle's in front, what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to do a thicker, darker line over top of just that, and immediately you're going to see how it is an illusion to your eye to make it actually pop over the circle. See, bang. Very quickly you can tell that that's in front of the circle. And what I'm going to do now is, it might be a little harder to tell, but I'm going to thicken it up because light's still affecting it. Thicken it up at the bottom, kind of like I did in the previous steps. And hopefully it looks like it pops out a little bit more. It's a little harder to tell. However, everything's going to be affected by light, so even the circle has to have the same light that we established in the beginning. And as you can see, the light kind of does it. Now, this part, I hope I'm going to get a little jumbled in my words here. I'm just shading a little bit of the bottom, and this isn't actual shading. What I'm doing here is any kind of connecting point, like I'm pointing to right there, where the circle and the rectangle hits, that's kind of a connecting point. I'm just lightening or putting a line there just to help it so it doesn't blend together too much. And then I'm just putting a little cast shadow of the object on front bouncing onto the object in the back. And here I'm going to do it again, just from a different side. I'm not going to go as intense with the lighting on the foreground object, but all those connection points right there, all I did was add a little bit of shading. And as you can see right there, that still helps separate things. And that right there works best for muscles and things. So what I've previously drawn here is just two arms in very simple shapes. And again, just going to try two different lighting sources, applying everything that we've been using so far. So the first one's a top light, and there's the round circular form. And then there's the cast shadow, not the cast shadow, but the overlaying layer of the arm underneath. The cylinder is lit at the bottom. And that's it. Right there, and you could leave it alone. It helps show volume and shape a little bit more. Here, I'm going to shade it with light coming from the left. The exact same thing as what we just previously did. And bang. It pops off the page a little bit. And if anybody has any questions on these, please leave a message or a comment, email me, contact me somehow, and I can do extra videos or just contact you directly of things that you may find that I'm doing a little bit, don't make too much sense. So here we're doing it on an actual arm that I've pre-drawn. And again, the lighting for this one is going to be a top-down. Everything's the exact same. The circle is still for the shoulder there, and I'm just adding like where the connection point is, or if the connection point isn't sinking in your head too much, think of forms overlapping in front of each other. It's going to always leave a little bit of a shadow behind it, kind of like if you put your palms in front of your face, or not in front of your face, but in front of you with the light coming from like the roof. Your bottom palm facing the roof and your hand over top of it. The hand over top is casting a shadow onto your hand. So you're not doing the full shading yet, you're just doing that actual thickness of the line. And it helps you, I find for myself, doing this stage right here, I don't like doing it because it takes so long to me. But I know it comes across as pretty quick right here, and it is a quick thing. But this also helps with your shadow placement. By doing this alone, I know a lot of people don't like to do some shadows in their drawing. And, I mean, you don't even have to do this. This is all a quote-unquote style thing that you could always do if you wanted to. But by just simply adding a little line like this, it helps bring it off the page a little bit. It helps give the illusion. But by doing this also, you can see where you're going to put your shading. Like once you actually go in to actually block in some shapes. So here, again, just doing the lighting coming from the left. And just to see how the arm does look different. I know this one's flexing, but it does look a little different just by adding some shapes. And I haven't done really any shading yet, just doing line value and line weight. And I'm hoping this comes across to you guys. This is something I like. I enjoy doing after this, not this stage here, but the actual shading that comes after it. And here, you can always break up your lines a little bit like I did on the top forearm muscle there. And at the bottom here is pretty thick lines. You know, wherever the light's not touching, feel free to thicken it up. You see how there's little broken lines there. Sometimes I find that I like how that looks a little bit more than if I didn't do it. That's pretty much it. And then, I mean, you could go in with the shading over top of that afterwards. You could check out some of my previous videos. I don't think I did it in the Venom video. I'm pretty sure I did it in... which one? The Forest Alpha videos? I'm pretty sure I did it in that. It might be in video 2. And I'm running out of time here, so I don't get to do the bottom one, but I'm just going to do this on a chest. So I'm going to apply everything that I've done so far, just line values. But the light's going to be coming from the top left, not a direct top. So the one side of the pec there will have actual light on it, and you know, not everything's going to be a connected point all the way through. And a good exercise to do too, if you're getting confused for the overlapping things, is just draw on the lines where the light isn't touching, then go back, and I'll try to show it on this one. Then I go back and do the overlapping lines over top. As you can see, I'm just trying to just bulk out the areas where the light isn't touching. And this all comes with practice. I mean, I'm not even remotely close to being the level that I'd like to be at. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way about their art and what they do in general. But seeing this helps me at least know what I'm doing. If there's any errors that I think I might be doing that I can see right away. So it's pretty much done. And now I'm just going to go over and do some quick overlapping shadows and connection points just to thicken them up a little bit. And then after this, I would go in and do shading where I find that it would needed to be. What am I trying to say here? I would go in and do shading after this where it needs to be appropriate. And again, it's a style thing. Some people don't shade their art or use shading at all. Some people don't even use line weights like this, which is fine. It's just what I'm trying to do here is show the people that are remotely interested, or maybe even if you want to experiment a little bit on your own, just to see how it looks on your art, and you might enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching. You can get a hold of me on Twitter. My username is ArtByJar. You can also check out my website at jonathanrector.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the video and all the videos so you can keep yourself up to date. And I hope you guys have an awesome week. I'll get back to you guys on Monday. Keep the lead and the stylus is burning. And you guys, again, have a fantastic week, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.